Welcome back. I am your happy healer lover. Today's date is July 23rd. The time now is 8:23. We've been running a little bit longer today. It's great to have you on board. And I have a particularly longer show because earlier today, the internet went out when the 7 p.m. show promptly got started. And so we had to get things going again. And I sort of took a different turn. I'm just off the cuff speaking about Kevin PAFFRATH and the associations between how the world of love does things versus how the world of greed hell does things. And then showing you that, well, this is the world of love and it's caring, and that the world of greed hell and that it's not caring for people properly is the world that we're in, and how our lives are affected by that. And so I said the best thing that we could do then is have that discussion, and when it comes to an end, in my own mind obviously, then cut it and come back to Kevin PAFFRATH to show this video clip we're getting ready to show now. So welcome to the program. Welcome back, that is. I am your happy healer lover, and this next up is Kevin PAFFRATH, and he is just well, you take a look.
Only concern I have is when you incentivize somebody to say, here's what I'm going to give you without a deadline to get you off. So for example, if you go that route and you give me a deadline, I'm going to give you this for 60 days. Like, okay, I'll give you an idea. So one of my guys smokes a lot of weed, a ton of weed. One of my best friends. We worked at Burger King together. The guy's always high, loves weed. He's one of the funniest guys. I love this guy. He let me live at his house for 18 days when I got out of I had no place to live. I love this guy. I mean, this is one of my favorite people in the world. But he smokes a shitload of weed. He's always high, right?
Tom Zenner.
That's definitely. Oh, yeah.
Me and Snoop.
No, but one time I'm sitting down with him and we start talking about entitlement programs. So welfare, right? We're giving you welfare. I said, look, I don't mind giving welfare. Let's give food stamps. It's fine. But here's what I want to do. Every month, I want to drug test you. He says, that's unfair. I said, why is that unfair? The government is supporting you. Let's drug test you every month. I don't think that's fair. You're invading people's privacy. So wait a minute. Wait a minute. When I was in the Army and the Army is paying my bills, which is paid by taxpayers, the Army can say whatever the hell they want to do with me because taxpayers are paying for me. So every month on Mondays, here's what would happen. Formation. If your social starts, last four, your social start, no joke. If your last four, your social starts with number 3, step out. And we would step out. Come on, drug test. They would go, your hand, because the formula is all you need to do is you need to put a little bit of, what do you call it, Clorox. So everybody would have a little bit of small little vial. So if you put Clorox on your hands and you pee on your fingers, then you're going to come on negative.
This is the value people are looking for in valuetainment. This is valuetainment. Where were you when I was in the minor leagues, bro? My God.
Game changer today, right? All because of MEETKEVIN. So watch this. So watch what happens.
David's like, you guys didn't know that? Everybody knows that.
Yeah, so.
I'm on a delay. Say that again.
Don't worry about it. That's all part of the delay. So
now Kevin PAFFRATH is on valuetainment. What you're going to witness is for the first time that I've noticed out of any of his interviews, and now this is going back about a month, well not quite, about 2 weeks, and watch how Kevin responds when he begins to get pressure. And this is a common thing lately as he's been getting more pressure. You begin to see the true Kevin come out, and there's other videos that we'll be sharing with you besides this one even that shows that even more. So you got to stick with the series. So I appreciate Valuetainment for actually doing some research on Kevin PAFFRATH, realizing he's not actually descended upon from heaven above and somehow has all the answers for California. In fact, that he's actually spreading greed around. What he represents himself to be, he is simply not. That's why I call him a charlatan. All the time he's coming off like he's a good guy, a good boy, a goody two-shoes, a smart guy, perhaps a nerdy kind of guy. In fact, he is anything but. He's crystal clear and focused on himself, greed-driven in every sense of the word, and will be having the contrast so that you can see the differences between people who provide value and they're not asking for anything in return other than a like, and Kevin PAFFRATH PAFFRATH, where he's got a course for just about everything, even the things he doesn't even know. He did well with his real estate course, conning people there, quite frankly, I would imagine. Even on his own thought process, he must have been thinking how that if he could convince people to sign up to an expensive course in real estate by shoveling principles that are commonplace coupled with his own brand of BS, that he could do the same thing with stocks and whatever else he deemed himself so capable of doing. And now he adds running for governor to that list. So we're going to hold him to account, and perhaps we will be the roughest on him because we're actually looking at the facts, the things that he's saying. It's not enough just to come out with a diatribe, blanket state facts that are spoken, which quite frankly I'm good at and I like to do. But people like to see the facts that prove the circumstances, and in of this case, and as so far as AmericanMantics is concerned, and so as that it affects other people, that his greed is affecting society in the worst ways, and that when he teaches other people to do what he does, society isn't better off for it, it's worse off for it, and that the more people like that we have that run their lives like Kevin PAFFRATH, the worse society we have for it, up into and including if all people were like Kevin PAFFRATH, this side would be so greedy, eating itself and squeezing every bit of profit out of every experience. No people have value. If it doesn't make dollars, it don't make sense. And in a world where all sense is derived from dollars, people don't have value because your experiences don't matter in that world. That's why we're making this our point, because our experiences do matter. We have purpose and value, and what Kevin teaches is wrong and it's immoral.
So we go there. By the way, this is how you had to pee. You had to pee, no joke. You had to pee. They would tell you, hold the cup, and the guy stands right here, and you would bring it. You can't touch anything, and you have to pee in it. Then you give it to him. So they wouldn't even let us do anything, right? And then I would say, oh, boom, you're smoking weed. Article 87, boom, you come out here, you're going to go do this. Down. So what I'm saying is the following. Let's give you the benefit program. With one caveat. What's the caveat? I'll give you 90 days, but every other week I'm drug testing you. If you come out positive, whatever the timeline you put in there, right? If you come out negative, I'll give it to you for another 90 days or 60 days. Because you're right, we got to stop the drug system, and the people, there's a real issue. So yes, I will feed you 3 meals a day. Yes, I'll give you a place to live if you are willing to go without drugs for 2 months. Okay, that's number one. The other one is you have 90 days to go get a job. So meaning is the following. This is my response back to yours, because I kind of like what you're doing, and I truly want to support you. Like if we have you here, this is a form of a support. You have to understand, we don't have everybody else here. So the other part will be the following. Let's just say, what is 3 meals a day and a place to stay at and all the other costs? What is that worth per month? Give me a number. What is that worth per month?
Per individual, for example?
Individual. Yeah, what is it worth? Is it $2,000 a month? $3,000 a month?
It should be
more
much
than that.
No. Well, here, look.
But give me a number. Just give me a number. Throw it out there.
Here's the thing. San Francisco right now is spending $5,000 a month on tents. It's ridiculous because it's not systematized. There's
Per
no
person?
Per person.
Damn.
There's-
5,000
listen,
a
it's
month?
nuts.
Crazy.
It's stupid.
Per tent?
It's stupid.
Yeah.
It's stupid. And here's why. There's no scale. There's no scale.
Yeah.
Guess what happens
Yeah.
when you come in as the governor and you work with businesses and nonprofits donating food? Your costs go way
You guys
down.
not have Bass
I'm
Pro
gonna
Shop
give you
in
a solution.
California? Like
I
a tent's
wanna-
like $150.
I don't. No.
I'll give you
They
an
already
idea.
got their tents. They already have their tents.
I'll give
Okay,
you an
the
idea
tents are already
here.
there.
I'll give
Listen,
you an idea
it's got to be
here.
under $500 a month, and we will do whatever we can to get that scale down. I want to run
3
it like an
meals a day.
efficient business.
If you do 3 meals a day,
of
meals,
stuff from Whole Foods that they're throwing away and they donate.
if you get
That is so incredibly disingenuous to the truth. We know $500 per month, there is no way you're going to take care of an individual and do his home or her home, a shower and 3 meals, and have any kind of dignity or worth or self-value. That is not enough for a budget to address the causes of homelessness and to provide a way out and a way forward. To look at that and to put a value of 500 on there really makes you question, just like I've questioned so many other things with Kevin. If he really became governor, how serious is he about the policies he espouses, he can't be very genuine. It's gotta be that he's seeking to garner support from people who feel bad for homelessness, and he's doing what greed does when I say greed steals love's magic. Greed steals what belongs to love, because greed is never a creative force. Okay, here's Kevin again.
We are working together in the
But-
state.
but-
Remember what I said? One of
Kevin,
my
let's
plans.
just say it's $2,000 a month.
It's not going to be $2,000 a month. But
Let's just say it's
I don't even want to
$1,500
run
a month.
No. If you want to run with a number, go with 1,000. There, that's easy.
So now Kevin says that's easy. $1,000 per person per month. That's the number he's going to go with. After all, Kevin is just making these plans on the fly, and that number sounds great. Remember, after all, this is a guy who doesn't like math very much, but yet teaches finances. What do you need to know the area of an apple for? That's what he says. Not a big fan of math, not a big fan of facts, not a big fan of people, but he's a very big fan of greed. So let's get right into this. $1,000 per person per month times 160,000 people monthly equals $160 million per month, and even half of that, as Kevin first cited, $500 per month, still equals a staggering $80 million per month for this problem. And how much does Kevin think his own plan costs? You know, the one that he's been touting as the savior to California's homelessness crisis? How much cost? Well, it turns out Kevin doesn't actually have any estimate, and that'll become painfully obvious in just a moment. He has been faking it since the beginning. I don't even know how anyone takes him seriously. I sure don't, except for that he is a con artist.
Okay, let's say $1,000 a month. Pick any number. Stay with me here. Say it's $1,000 a month.
That's $160,000 a month for the homeless.
Boom. Do you see how wrong he gets it?
Yeah, so I'm gonna get. It's not $160,000 a month. It's 160 times 1,000. That's not $160,000 a month. Just take it up a lot more. You got three zeros.
Yeah.
Called out again. You gotta love these guys. They got their facts down straight. It must really throw off Meaty McCready.
It's
No,
160
you're right.
Yeah,
you're right,
so you're off a little
He
bit.
doesn't, he doesn't operate in anything
So-
under two
No,
commas
it's
anyway.
great. It's
so-
great.
so
Yeah,
stay with me here.
160,000 people is what I meant
That's
to say.
right.
This guy tries to deflect in the most insane situations. That's not what he was trying to say. This is what he was trying to say.
That's $160,000 a month for the homeless.
Times $1,000 a month.
You are correct.
Okay,
Yes.
So now let's
Yeah.
look at this. If I'm going to give you $1,000 a month, let's
It's too much.
And this is what shows Kevin's inexperience. Clearly unwilling to actually do any number crunching at all. He's not familiar with his own numbers. For the numbers that he's throwing out, the only thing that he seems to know for a fact is that the theoretical numbers they're throwing out are just way too much in Meaty McCready's mind. And he plans to take that all the way to the governor's office and then into your pocket. Using that kind of math? No thanks, Meaty McCready. Stop that. Can you just try to be a decent human being? That's all I ever tried to help you do, is to become a better person, Meaty McCready. Do you have it in you?
It's too much.
What's the minimum wage in California?
Minimum wage?
15,
well,
right?
Well, it's going to 15. It keeps fluctuating.
Give me
So-
the number today. Is it 1040?
Yeah, somewhere around there. It
depends on the
because
city.
it goes
In the
up.
cities,
and
it's
it-
15.
Pull up
yeah,
California
it
minimum
varies.
wage. Just
Yeah,
pull up
okay.
because you're going to see what direction I'm going with this year.
Are you shocked yet to see just how little this guy knows?
1040?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
It depends on the
because
city.
it goes
In the
up.
cities,
and
it's
it-
15.
Pull up
yeah,
California
it
minimum
varies.
wage. Just
Yeah.
pull up to 1040.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
It depends on the
because
city.
it goes
In the
up.
cities,
and
it's
it-
15.
Pull up
yeah,
California
it
minimum
varies.
wage. Just
Yeah.
pull up.
Definite charlatan.
This is how I'm willing to agree to take care of you. What's minimum wage in California?
Yeah.
California minimum
Here's-
wage.
He-
Hang on, let me just make my point. Let me make my point.
Because I got
know
a response to you. I know where
you
you're going
will
with this.
get it. Let me just give it to you.
I know where you're going.
So $15 an hour. So watch this. $1,000, 66, right? I'll give you 3 square meals. I'll give you a place to stay at, but you have to do community service 70 hours a month, 20 hours a week. I'll give it to you. But hey, Mr. Homeless, we got to get you back working, and working's very healthy for you. You want to have a place to stay at? You got to work 70 hours a month. If you don't do it, I'm not taking care of you. So I'm mentally getting you to realize, holy shit, I'm doing stupid work, cleaning the sides of the street. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to go get a real job. Now we're talking because I'm drug testing you on a monthly basis. I'm going to get you off to drugs. I'm going to get you back to the habit of working. 90 days later, now go back to regular life. Go get a job for yourself.
Yeah. Look, what you've just described is a beautiful utopian example. The reality is the issues that have occurred on our streets have made this a much larger and more complicated issue. The folks who have been living on our streets for years.
Utopian.
You see, Kevin's plan is unrealistic for the fact that it's not thoroughly thought out. No numbers are consistent with his plan, and the plan sucks. To whatever extent there actually is a plan.
No.
You're giving free money and saying, give me another 160,000 people. That's utopia.
No.
We have free money to throw at people.
No. I can't talk my way out of this one. Oh, no. Is this happening to me? Ah!
That's what you're saying.
Wrong.
Oh my God, he does that same exact thing when he's on his show. He just says wrong with no basis, just wrong. And people go for it. They believe him because he says wrong. Well, Kevin, you're wrong. That's right, Meaty McGreedy. Get used to it.
Okay, the person who's throwing away free money is...
And I'm pausing this for a moment because I'm going to take it back just a little bit here. And I want to respond to something that Kevin said, and I'm going to respond live. All right, not thoroughly thought out. No numbers are consistent with his plan, and the plan sucks. Got to go back a little bit more.
Reality is, the issues that have occurred on our streets have made this a much larger and more complicated issue. The folks who have been living on our streets for...
Okay, do you hear him saying that this is a much larger, more complicated issue? And anybody could agree with that, right? It is a much larger and more complicated issue indeed. But he's not talking about what the real issue is. He doesn't know what the real issue is. He's just capitalizing on the problem itself. And that's what I sense is happening here. When I just want to bring and put attention to that, because his policies, like building casinos, are going to make more people who are depressed and have gambling issues and addiction or addictive type of personalities another thing to fail by. And no doubt there will be a lot of people who do fail and end up losing their lives, A, and B, a tax revenue for which Kevin can point back to say how he's going to fund his military plans and taking over homelessness. We have to do big and large things, but not the way Greed Hell does, which is all a horse and pony show. And that's what Kevin PAFFRATH, who's about fake progress for real gains in his collective money, his accounts and portfolio and all of his stocks. And if you're serving him in some way that way, and that's what he's concerned about. He ain't concerned with anybody else. In his progress, he wants to get love. In humanity, we're all searching for that all so special feeling of love. I call it touching the human humdrum. I feel it myself. I often say I'm married to humanity. I care about people so much. They are my everything. And yet, you see people like Kevin come and take the same words that I would use and claim them for himself, when the real truth is he is anything but those qualities. To me, that's a charlatan and a dangerous thing too, because now you have greed trying to fill the shoes of love, and it never intended to do that work. Let's carry on. Kevin's plan is unrealistic for the fact that it's not thoroughly thought out. No numbers are consistent with his plan, and the plan sucks. To whatever extent there actually is a plan.
No.
You're giving free money and saying, give me another 160,000 people. That's utopia.
No.
We have free money to throw at people.
No. I can't talk my way out of this one. Oh, no. Is this happening to me? Ah!
That's what you're saying.
Wrong.
Oh my God, he does that same exact thing when he's on his show. He just says wrong with no basis, just wrong. And people go for it.
That's
They
so
believe him
annoying.
Because he says wrong. Well, Kevin, you're wrong. That's right, Meaty McGreedy. Get used to it.
Okay, the person who's throwing away free money is for giving criminal traffic tickets and putting us another $12 billion into debt. Okay, so we can play numbers all day long, but the reality is,
You don't have a command on your own numbers to be able to play those numbers. Nor are numbers in all actuality your strong suit.
you've got to get homeless off our streets, and you have to rehabilitate.
Starting with getting them the hell off of our streets because they're in the way, they're ugly, they're dressing funny, and we don't like them because they're not at our class level. My name's Meaty McGreedy, and I invented this message.
You can't take a person.
Your plan's not going to do that, though.
But your plan's not going to do that, though. That's putting it to him.
A person.
Your plan's not going to do that, though.
And he's being nice about it, and a matter of fact, because his plan doesn't have any kind of meat behind it. It's a fake plan built on a fake man that's built upon greed for, namely, himself. And that's why his plan's not going to do it.
Your plan's not going to do that, though.
No. It does. Because I mentioned in my emergency facilities, we have a mental health facility, substance abuse facility, and educational support via our future schools.
All for the low, low price of $500 per month per person. That is pivotal, all for the low, low price of $500 per person. Because, Kevin, you need to be held to account. You're not going to be able to take care of all these people, provide health and doctors and nurse, a waiting staff in 80 different facilities all throughout this state, and, several, however many thousands of personnel you need, and all their vehicles and maintenance, and their traveling and hotel cost. Yeah, sure. You're going to do this and take good care of them with the value that they need. And you're going to do that for $500 a person. That's a lie right there. He never intended to do that. That's the truth. And what I like, he was called out on it. Your plan isn't going to do that. Just like that. I love it. Guess what? Kevin PAFFRATH? Your plan isn't going to do that, man. All the things that you're saying, you're a liar. You're going down the way of greed hell. Shame on you, man. You challenged me to a debate and then you ran off. And guess what? You know what, Kevin? Your plan's not going to do that, man. I'm going to get a bumper sticker. Message to Kevin, right? Your plan isn't going to do it, brother.
Look, the end goal is people who have careers, who are not on Medi-Cal, who are not on welfare. That's the end goal. So how do you get to the end goal? People cleaning the streets? No, guess who's cleaning our streets under my plan? The people who are non-violent prisoners who are going to go, they're going to be cleaning our street.
Aha! I'll take advantage of somebody else. Look, people sometimes need rehabilitation, help to become better, and that human beings have value. Kevin, not everybody is there to abuse and to use. I know you're so used to it because on the other side of every trade you take advantage on, there's losers that are piling up, and you're least concerned about their final fate. And quite frankly, I don't think any of us will know about the final fate of a man or a woman who loses everything in the world of greed hell and is left with no value as a consequence, because that's what greed hell does. I'm not going to hear it. I'm your happy hero lover. I see value in everybody. I see value first. I preach about that value. That's what God is about, that value, that love. That's what the war happening on the inside of humanity is about, fighting the love battle between evil and goodness, and that the power of goodness with God Almighty is literally up against a mountain in a war of devils. And the path is so vast of those people working with the devil. So many people, the Bible even says it. And Yet, that power of God Almighty is plenty powerful to take on that evil and win victorious. And that's because love is always the more powerful force. Greed is always a dead sum force. It doesn't cooperate with each other. The end solution is death. Greed is always out for itself. You might see greedy patterns where it looks like everybody's going for the same thing, but they're actually competing against one another when they do that. Greed has very ugly energies when you just look at it in the energies and look at what's driving human action. It's pathetic. It's not how we were built. We could do way better. Greedy is so good at exploitation.
So we can talk more about that, but that's another piece of our plan.
So go back and break down what I just proposed to you and tell me how that's utopia. I want you to crush that argument.
Your vision right now is that people...
This is honestly what frustrates me about Kevin. He pretends to care, provides no avenues to get that stuff done, accepts the advantage and goodwill from the people for having a plan thoroughly thought out, so they think, yet its primary objective is to give your goodwill to this punk, to this liar, to this charlatan who expects to spend $500 a month on helping your loved ones get back up on their feet at the end of a National Guardsman's rifle. And he can't understand why people don't relate with his plan. Why the homeless aren't excited and exuberant about Kevin PAFFRATH's plan for the greedy.
Can go from where they're living now in their tent to cleaning the streets for 70 hours a month and then going into a real job.
God forbid somebody works 15 hours a week. Catastrophic. Catastrophic if they do that.
I'm not disagreeing with your argument.
Yeah.
Of course he's not disagreeing. He's playing every issue to the middle. He uses everybody and exploits, gaining favor not for his constituents. He's gaining favor for himself, gaining favor from all sides of every issue to his own advantage. That is what Meaty McGreedy does. It's very likely that a week later, you'll see him on the other side of the issue. And what he's doing is he's gaining favor for himself. And so if you see him on this side of the issue, even a minute later, watch out, because he may be gaining favor on your side of the issue this time.
The real thing here, Pat, is that these people that end up in control of these programs, these bureaucrats, are evil. They are either greedy or they're crazy.
And that is exactly what our man, Meaty McGreedy, yearns to be. He's out to do greed like you've never seen before, and greed is evil. What he hopes to be. It seems like, my friend, you have Meaty McGreedy's number.
And if you incentivize them to trade basic needs for labor, you're going to run into a really, really bad situation. That is essentially communism. That is essentially slavery. Look what's happening with the prison industry.
And Kevin can't wait to exploit the prison system and all the free labor he can get out of it for state benefit. Just look at that grin from ear to ear.
The prison industry incentivizes small crimes, people doing extensive amount of time for small crimes because it's cheap labor. For-profit prisons incentivize the entrapment of individuals.
Help, educate, trust.
Occupy.
And guess, stop.
Those are general statements you're making. I want specifics.
No, I just gave you a lot of specifics.
Not a lot of specifics.
Whoa,
It's a lot of
hold
utopian
on.
ideas.
No. What is building 2,000 emergency or 80 emergency facilities with 2,000 people in each facility is not this utopian idealism, okay? These are
He says, help, educate, trust. Throwing out blanket words. He doesn't have anything deeper to back it, and when he talks about a cost, he's way off from anything that sounds like a realistic number. And here he goes on, being held to account, and I like that. I like that these guys are holding him to task, unlike many other interviews he's been in, which it's almost like he feels he's going to get good press, so then he does it. I think he realized because on some of the episodes he was getting good press from Valuetainment, so he decided, oh, this is going to be a cake interview. Turned out they were waiting for him. Good chance they seen their happy healer lover talking about the truth about Kevin and decided they'll ask about some of these things and get a little bit more serious. I could picture that, because when you do a search on Meet Kevin or problems, Meet Kevin, or greedy, or issues, and I'll be actually fine-tuning some of those words. It brings up all these videos, and people who are doing shows on him have that, and have that background. So this is the real Kevin we're talking about. There's the facade that he shows everybody outward, and then there's the real Kevin where he's like any one of us dealing with the world and finances, except for him it's about building a castle at the expense of others. And as so far as the homeless are concerned, they serve Kevin by the virtue of their story and suffering. Kevin plans to ride on those coattails to get support. And it's wrong because, like these guys are telling him, putting a gun to someone's head who's in a tent isn't a good way to wake up to me. Actually, they like their tent compared to that. You gotta actually address the real problem of homelessness, Kevin. You're missing it large. You are just so far off base. And here we go. Let's go. And all for only $500 per person. Folks, the overwhelming moral of this story is to recognize a con job when you see one.
Let me get to the bottom line.
We got unicorns flying. California.
Aristotle says the end is what matters. And the end is creating independence. Can we agree that the end is creating independence where people are not relying on welfare and entitlement programs?
Practical matters, the end is not mere speculative knowledge of what is to be done, but rather the doing of it. It is not enough to know about the virtue, then, but we must endeavor to possess it and to use it, or to take any other steps that may make. Now, Meaty McGreedy, I'm not exactly sure what quote of Aristotle's you were quoting, but I do know this. You're not doing the work it takes to endeavor to possess more than the speculative knowledge, but rather the getting done of that which needs to be done. You use a lot of mind and word trickery. You fail to get that done which you fail to truly desire to get done. Your desire begins and ends with your own benefit, an ideal virtuously bankrupt of all goodness. So how is one able to endeavor to possess the virtue they don't possess in the first place when it comes to Meaty McGreedy? Now, I've offered advice to Kevin before, and well, he didn't take it. Instead, he knows better. It's quite pompous of him, because sometimes it's the people who want to see you do well that you should listen to the most. Those who see the best in you, who believe in you. Kevin doesn't believe in anything but what amounts to dollars and cents. And when he thinks of people and their value, he thinks they're not worth more than $500 per month, and that it's offensive to the value of $1 to indicate more should be spent on such warrantless matters, such as people and their misery, their downfalls, their hunger, and their eventual and steady death. All the result of greed, the kind that festers in Meaty McGreedy, Kevin PAFFRATH, unfortunately running for governor without a reason. The man stands before you without even the speculative knowledge, nor does he have the burning desire, for that which he endeavors is to enrich himself. I just know that people are worth so much more than that. The sacred value of an individual, the sacred value of the collection of people together, their spirit, what they mean to each other, what they are, but also who they are and what they can become. I believe in people. It's the reason why I do what I do as their happy healer lover. Although for Kevin, the motive is always simple. It's about greed and his own progress. Who else he can fleece? All it takes is watching his program. Just a single program will tell you all you need to know. Constantly upsizing and upselling and taking from the people who trust him and watch him and love him. They loved him and he gave them back. Ugly, detestable, greed, incapable of care. I admired the guys in this interview, for they, for the first time, held Meaty McGreedy on some of his short-sighted lack of in-depth knowledge and phony approach he's taking to his own campaign, questioning the details and learning there are none. What is Meaty McGreedy going to do about that? My guess, as usual when he is wrong, and as the greedy always do, he will double down on that which he is wrong. And if you tell him to his face, he'll desire to make an example out of you so that nobody else on a mission of righteousness will dare get in that greedy devil's face, because he'll mock and use the powers of greed and the powers of evil, the mocking devil, to embarrass, to displace any notion of reason, to subdue the argument of value for which you have come, and instead to put the lesson on you. Just like he has done the homeless, he desires to teach, not a lesson of empowerment. For Meaty McGreedy, it always goes back to what he wants for himself. So it's simply to shut you down so you don't get in his greedy way. And I've said in previous programs that voodoo, that people do, that Kevin does, that he moves for his greed and he doesn't change. He doesn't think, what can I do better? How can I be better? Instead, he is constantly pushing himself for taking more from you, for tricking you, and for making anybody who questions those motives to look stupid and feel embarrassed about questioning Meaty McGreedy in the first place. I continue to challenge Meaty McGreedy to the debate that he himself challenged me to and then ran. Well, we have so much on this guy because we're going to make an example out of Meaty McGreedy and just how detrimental greed is on society, but also when it's within the hearts of our leaders, our people. They're seeking office, they're seeking to be in charge of our children's lives, our own lives, and for the future to come. They don't deserve it, and your happy healer lover is so dedicated to showing you the truth so that we can come together, building a better future, truly serving to the cause of humanity. And that's worth the effort, because that's where people succeed. And I'm always down with greed and all that takes away from the value of a person, and I'm always for the value and the purpose and the sacred reason for living of every human life. That matters tremendously in your happy healer lover's heart.
Is that not what you would describe?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Okay, so we agree on creating
Not
independence as the bottom line.
everybody
You
is gonna
gotta
be able
hold
to get
on,
there.
man. I'm about to make you take another shot, and I'm going to give you a third one after that, okay? So we got to create independence. Number
me
one.
with a good time.
Okay, give me 30 more seconds. Create independence. You do that not by people dying on our streets. When more people are dying on our streets to homelessness than gun violence, you know you have a problem. Give this a try. You get 60 days, National Guard, help, educate, trust. Then we have emergency facilities where we deal with the drug problems that you're talking about. We deal with the mental health problems. We educate and we create the independence by giving people an opportunity. What opportunity do you have today? As a 25-year-old, as a 35-year-old, as a 45-year-old, what opportunity do you have today to go get a career? You're going to come up with the 10 grand, 20, 30 grand to go to boot camp? You're going to come up with the money to go pay for your way through a community college? There's no way for you to get started. You want to try to get a minimum wage job? Good luck even getting an Uber to drive you there when you haven't had a shower in weeks. You start with help, education, trust.
Now, did you hear an actionable plan in there? Neither did I. That was exactly what he was asked about through the entire interview. Challenged to be more specific in his plans. And anytime he tried to get specific, he was only more wrong. Case in point, he doesn't even know the numbers when it comes to the cost of his most audacious plan, solving homelessness, as he puts it, in the first 60 days of his campaign. He just doesn't have a plan to get there outside of making these grandiose statements, all fluff and no actual matter. And that's what Kevin is selling, a skin-deep plan with no hope of achieving that which others have failed before him. Why? Because greed is the way of the land. Unfortunately, greed, hell, it is an evil force, a force stuck on death just as much as Kevin, Meaty McGreedy, is stuck on greed. And as it turns out, greed is death. You know, I would wish that Kevin would actually talk about in-depth policies, ways and means in order to get the things done that he talks about wanting to do. And for as much time as we have spent hearing Kevin talk about all the many things he wants to do and how he wants to do it and what he's going to do and what that means to this and how that means to that, what we haven't heard are concrete plans, like the ones he was challenged in this interview, plans that would achieve the objectives that he claims to be after. And even those objectives, such as bringing into the state gambling, knowing in advance it'll cause hardship and headache, increased addiction of all varieties, including gambling itself, to which Kevin says, and when those problems occur, we'll solve those too. Isn't it funny how greed always causes the problems and then claims to have the answer for the problem it just caused, and yet it never actually succeeds in solving any of these problems because its goal was never in the development of solutions capable of solving these problems. Good job to Valuetainment for bringing out the many inaccuracies and the lackluster approach Kevin has to the plans he advocates for, and of and for in which too he will never, or shall I say we will never get the result that he has promised. And when that day comes, he'll have an excuse for that too. Folks, that's not good enough.
You create independence.
Okay, good. So let's go to housing.
Great.
What's your solution with housing?
Solution with housing is the government is not incentivizing the building of enough houses. It's very simple. It's supply-demand economics. The government doesn't need to be in the way of creating all these unique special policies to try to make housing more affordable. We need more houses. And then you have more affordable housing. It's very simple. You could do that by building new communities.
Multi-family units.
It doesn't matter what. It could be single family, it could be multifamily.
Behold, folks, Kevin is about to talk about real, actual, honest-to-God, concrete policy. Listen up.
My vision is you legalize gambling.
And this goes right to the heart of what we're talking about when it comes to Kevin PAFFRATH's greed. He isn't thinking in advance about how he can solve the problems that people are having. Instead, he's more focused on serving a certain class of people, i.e. greedy people like he is, business people, quite frankly, people that prescribe to the same set of beliefs that he teaches, but that are not true, at least not in respect of what's best for people. And that's the problem with Kevin and his approach, not just in politics, but in life. He's focused on the end prize, and in this case, for him, it's victory, winning.
You build Las Vegas-style strips around California with housing communities around those powered by solar farms and wind farms, which are very hard today to integrate to our existing ecosystem.
He knows that's going to take money. His base, our financial crowd, folks that don't want to pay high taxes, the real estate crowd, made up of folks who are tired of the homelessness and how it's depressing home values. These are the types of concerns that residents leaving California have complained about. They're the kinds of concerns that Kevin has brought up on his show many of times. And so now he's wrapping up a homeless solution wrapped in the clause or the belief that he cares about homelessness. And you know that's not true, because if he cared about people, he wouldn't be so inconsistent. When it comes to the kinds of addiction that can destroy lives and homes and families, he says, well, just go get help for your addiction. That's unbelievable, and it's not good enough. We know the problems that gambling brings to society, and that's exactly what greed hell likes, the teardown of society, of human happiness. Kevin PAFFRATH is for that in spades. And the worst part about all of it is he doesn't even know it.
He's running for dictator of California. Holy crap. Everything's a state of emergency.
East Landy. I really want to get to it.
That's right, folks. Kevin PAFFRATH really wants to get me, because the happy healer just got him where it matters most, and he can't handle it, because he's not a happy healer like the happy healer is. So we've got a show that's really been running on today. It's 9:05 p.m. I am Keith Landy, your happy healer lover, and let's just talk a little bit about what we watched. We've seen Kevin PAFFRATH, we've seen how he does things, how he talks around the various hosts, and he wants to be able to intervene and try to finagle his way into being governor. And he doesn't want to take on questions that are serious. He was challenging people to a debate. He wasn't being genuine. He's scared of being questioned. Certainly by me, because he already escaped and ran and blocked and did everything he could to not live up to the challenges, promises, and way he runs his show. You see, he gains a certain kind of respect from his audience when he tells them, oh, I'll take on anybody. Oh, I don't worry, I don't care. I'll take on any person who wants to step forward. They're so daring that they think they can take on me. Come along, let's do this. And he puts a fight on his show. He makes it like, yeah, let's duke it out. Okay. And then that's accepted. And guess what? He doesn't follow through. All right, so then his regular people that are his staple, they're his foundation. Without them, there's no MEETKEVIN. They're the people that watch his show, buy his programs. I mean, this thing about buying programs, I've thought really hard about that, because when people buy your program, their money is so woven into our value. I have a friend that says, my money that I've saved over my lifetime, it's my essence because I put my heart and effort into that. And all my essence is sitting in a bank account and I protect it and yada yada. And I believe that when people invest in a program or in some way, they're giving some of their essence for it, and mentally then that program has more value to them. That bothers me, because in the world of greed hell, it's not putting human value front and center, so that's what happens then. But in the world of love, you would never work like that. It's beyond me why we do things so backwards. People die. Their value isn't respected. And we can do so much better. And we unfortunately fail. This isn't about, let's mob justice Kevin PAFFRATH. There's no even punishment to him. Most of the stuff he does is legal, and I don't say all of it because I think some of it is actually not legal. But I don't think there'll be a problem for him because they're not things that are a concern to the government. And so that's what happens. They run for governor, and if they win, they're bringing with them all that baggage and all that corruption that got them there in the first place. And people have to really dig deep on what the true value is that they want out of this life. And they really have to have that conversation with themselves and their loved ones. What does life really mean? Does it have value, or are we just going about this every day, playing the same actions, going through the same role every single day, and missing the point that it's human value that matters the most? Everything you're moving for should be for that. Now, I get it. In greed hell, we have to make money. We have to survive. Otherwise, we'll be the ones on the ground with nothing, living in tents and starving and dying slowly. Well, many people who live in houses are one step above the tent, but that they're still dwindling to nothing there because they don't have their sustenance still. They're suffering. I know what that's like. We grew up in my family, and this is why they talk about white privilege, and it's never, ever penetrates my heart because I know the suffering, the death that my family went through. And that's an offense that just goes so deep because of the pain. And it's used politically as a bullet because of that power that it possesses. And that's what makes it so wrong when those Democrats do that. So wrong. Stop doing that. Because there's dreams and hopes and ambitions that from when we were children. And we have to channel into that energy and win this fight. If we go the way that people like Kevin PAFFRATH are taking us, we're going the way of destruction and hell. That's surely to be the end of the human story. That's the truth. AmericanMantics does love and truth. Unfortunately, that's not what all of these people that are guiding us are speaking about. They're missing the point. And so hopefully they listen, and then they are moved. The truth is a powerful thing in people's lives. And if you become good at telling that truth, people can benefit from it. They can actually benefit. If you're out to make more money, for example, AmericanMantics and the propositions of living life through love and truth, it gives you the ability to actually make more money and to be smarter and more organized and to hire help and to care and to become more of a person that's empowered. I just hope that people see the gift. I really do. It's such a gift. As long as we keep looking up to people like Kevin PAFFRATH, and we keep passing up the beautiful gifts that actually change the world, that are needed to change the world, and that instead it's the crooks and liars and thieves and greedy bastards that are getting the support, the attention, the forthright movement because of a hard and strong backing, then this is so deep that it's not just the creators like Kevin that are behind it. And that's why that vastness of the people who go the wrong way, that are filled in the void, that go towards evilness, are risking so much. And that's what AmericanMantics shows and helps them open their eyes, so we can take on the real problems and to actually conquer those real problems. Because greed hell created them all almost, except for the natural ones, and greed hell never dealt with. That's all greed hell does. AmericanMantics, together with happy healer loving principles, are rooted in its care for others and the ability to continue caring until the problem is completely solved. And greed hell never cared enough to even ask. We are doing this Unchecked Greed series. We have so much more to share on Kevin PAFFRATH and on, like I told you previously, Neil Paulson. My goodness, what a horrible, greedy guy he is to people who trusted him. And these people that are destroying hope. And I hope that they see this, that they change, and that other people hold them to account, because that is how we get to have real, lasting, loving change that could change the world and actually bring about the world that we're all desperately waiting for. And when it comes, then we can actually go on to making progress that is the more advanced progress. And we're given more tools to do that. It's a transition of sorts, and always becoming stronger through the transition. That's what AmericanMantics is. And it's built, in my thinking, in a capitalistic sense. You'd never do well in any other way. I think that you have to have a reward system for those who are providing and doing great, outstanding results for people, but that people then should be united in doing their very best in these jobs to make everything so successful, and that we should be working towards an income for all so that people are empowered with their time, such a special gift, and that they can pursue their heart's intention to serve humanity. And things are getting easier and more robotic and more systematic. And these systems were ever and always supposed to be, in their very invention, to the core of their construction, to serve humanity. And they all got away from serving humanity. That's what Unchecked Greed is going to address. And AmericanMantics is going to continue Monday through, well, let's just say Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Every other day through the week, starting on Monday, or you could say not Tuesday and Thursday. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. sharp. You'll see, we're always here. Today we got knocked off because of a little internet issue, but then we're right back on again. And you can count on that. God bless you, and good evening.